comics from the most extreme wrestling, and this is your AEW Dynamite review for March 18th, 2020. And this took place live in Jacksonville, Florida. Cody Rhodes standing inside of the ring. He's talking about unity, people coming together, and not living in fear. A great message, of course, to start off the night. There are no fans in the arena. All the fans, they're watching at home. A good message, but there are plenty of wrestlers there at the show. He starts talking about the elite and how they need to be elite. And they really need to up their game, bring that unity in, and come together. And then we have Matt Jackson, Kenny Omega come down to the ring, and they're feeling that message. Cody Rhodes, being the leader that he is trying to get everybody on their A game. Because look, 1 week away from right now, going to be having blood and guts. Not going to be happening at its original location. Not going to have any fans there. But the action, it's still going to happen. Going to have this big cage. It's going to be all covered. And maybe that's a good thing. You can hide a couple of things. And I think that that's all right. As long as the match is awesome, I think we're going to be just fine. But will the elite be just fine? Because, well, Cody doesn't think so. He thinks that they really need to come together to make this thing work. So, they call out Paige. Paige comes out and they ask, are you with us? Are you going to make this work? You know, forget about all those things that happened in the past, the spitting in the face, which, you know, you can't really do that right now. But is Paige down with them? And Paige raises his drink in the air to signify that he is indeed down with the elite during these trying times. And they say, lights, pyro, dynamite. Which was awesome, because we started off kind of somber, and they kicked on the color, they kicked on the lights and the pyro. So an empty arena, essentially, with pyros was kind of funny. But what I was irritated at with WWE, seemingly AEW was smart about. They weren't trying to talk to non-existent fans. You got to give them a plus for that. They didn't try to gesture to the fans that weren't there. They acknowledged the situation and they went with it. Instead of having 0 people out there whatsoever, they ended up putting wrestlers around the ring. Not a lot. I'm sure there wasn't a lot of guys there at the show, period, anyways. But it gives it a little bit of liveliness, and like I've said in previous videos, I don't think that you can have good wrestling matches or really do wrestling any kind of justice without some kind of fan participation. You have to have some interaction to make this whole thing work. Otherwise, it just feels a little bit dead and hollow. But MJF, he is there with Tony Schiavone. He says that he doesn't have to wrestle. He's got a suit on and everything. And he starts to gamble with spears. And I thought that was kind of funny. Because, well, you can't gamble in Vegas, but apparently you can do it in Jacksonville, Florida during this show right here on Dynamite. So they're going to be gambling on matches. So I thought, hey, that's something that they can continue to do the rest of the night. And they did. And you can continue to do that for weeks until we get the fans back there. It reminded me kind of what the APA did in the Attitude Era. They weren't necessarily gambling on anything, but it was just a little something that was happening every single week that gave the show a little bit more life. Even though those segments were kind of goofy, the point is it adds something more. And when you have nothing to work with, a big empty blank slate, that's definitely a start. And it gives you some more things to be interested in as far as the outcome of the matches. You know, besides, oh, who's going to win? I want my guy to win. Now you have some financial significance. Words are difficult sometimes. Anyways, Brandy, she is doing the ring announcing, and I thought, man, she's good at ring announcing. Oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah, she kind of did that for a long time, didn't she? Well, she's still damn good. And she's still wearing Cody Rhodes' tattoo thing on her shirt, so she's a very supportive wife. I got to give her that. Best Friends with Orange Cassidy are taking on the Lucha Brothers. Another thing that WWE could have done to liven things up a little more is have more compelling people on guest commentary. I know that they had people on guest commentary, but I just don't necessarily consider Mojo Rawlins to be, intriguing television. Orange Cassidy, however, he is there, and he's falling asleep during this match, which I thought was kind of hilarious. It's the Best Friends taking on the Lucha Brothers. And you have your random wrestlers in the crowd. You even have Jake Roberts over there, which I would think if I was a wrestler and Jake Roberts was watching and critiquing my match, I would be like, better make sure this stuff is good right here. They go for the Best Friends hug in the middle of this match, and they don't because of social distancing, and they just hit a little bit of elbow. But let me tell you something. Look, if you're a wrestler and you're sweating that much, you're probably not going to, you're probably screwed anyways. But, save your hugs for another day. And Orange Cassidy, somehow or another, from the commentary table, he wakes up, he gets aroused. Well, we'll just go with he wakes up. And then he does his little dive with his hands in his pockets onto wrestlers in the ring. It looked very soft, it looked very weak. It was very sloth-like, so, I mean, maybe that's what he was going for, because he's the king of sloth style. The Lucha Brothers, however, they come away as the winners. MJF wins this bet, and next week we're going to have a street fight, a parking lot brawl, with the Best Friends and the Lucha Brothers. And I thought that was good because, one, it breaks up the flow of the show where you're not just having matches like this every week, because that's going to get old. I mean, sure, it's cool you have the wrestlers watching on and interacting, but you just don't have the full fan show like you would normally have. So doing a parking lot brawl, I think it's smart on one front, and on the second front, it's smart because whether you like it or not, these shows are going to start having less and less people until containment gets down. So like we just heard with WrestleMania, they're splitting WrestleMania up into 2 days, and I guarantee you that's because they can only have so many people in the building, period. Crew, wrestlers, whoever. So if they can pre-film this, if they can, which I'm sure that what they're going to do, that takes those wrestlers, you take that segment, you pre-record it, boom, you can throw it in the show later, and you can offset the amount of people allowed in the building. So I think that's very smart. Next up, we have Penelope Ford versus Riho versus Statlander versus Shida. They have a pretty nice little match. Oh, how Riho has fallen from being the champion to just being thrown up into this match. And Penelope Ford, well, they're doing something with her, so that's cool. And, of course, I love Statlander. But it was a pretty average, okay match, and nothing really to see here other than Shida comes away with the victory, pinning Ford. So, sucks for Ford. They start interviewing Colt Cabana, and he starts insulting Penelope Ford's boyfriend. And he doesn't like this, and Colt Cabana ends up slapping him, and they just leave. So, he totally got bitched out. I thought that was just kind of strange. Are they building some kind of storyline with Colt Cabana and Penelope Ford's boyfriend? Do they think that's a good idea? Wait, Joey Janela was in the crowd, but to my recollection, they never showed him during this match. So, have they completely dropped that storyline? Or are they doing storylines on YouTube shows that I'm not up to date on? I assume that they just completely canned it. But Joey Janela, in his rightful place, looking like a fan behind the barricade. I know that people love him in other wrestling promotions, but that doesn't matter here. This is AEW Dynamite, and he's not exactly blowing my socks off, even though I'm not wearing socks. Holy crap. I'm barefoot. So, yeah, I'm going to step on all over this. Boom. Boom, boom. Cole Cabana just bitch slapped you. Okay. Tony and Moxley. This is a pre-recorded segment where Moxley is going to his 4GT, and he's going to go relax. I don't know if he's not allowed on the show because of some kind of health concern, or if he's not on the show because they didn't need him to do anything. Or maybe it's just because he was mad he couldn't do his entrance. They just wouldn't let him. But anyways, they didn't need him on the show. That's fine. They did this little segment. That's completely cool. He's going to be at Blood and Guts, though. He has to be. Otherwise, that would really suck, wouldn't it? Next up, we have Butcher and Blade, but no Bunny. You had Penelope Ford, but no Bunny. Oh, it's just sad. I understand they got to cut people down. I'm surprised they had so many referees. I believe they had 3 different referees. Is that necessary? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could get away with 1, maybe 2. Why so many referees? They had 3 camera guys on the ground, like the hard camera, and then 2 guys floating around, right? So limited in every other way, but not in that way. That just seems bizarre. On a normal show, they would have granted more referees, but I'm just saying. I noticed it. So Butcher and Blade are taking on Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. And Marco Stunt is not there. I'm sure he's another one. They were just like, hey, we can only have so many people, so yeah. Because I'm pretty sure he survived that kick to the face when Luchasaurus got in the ring last week. But this was a pretty okay match. Butcher definitely needs more direction. There was a point in the match where he got kicked in the face and his reaction was like... And then he got drop kicked and he fell out of the ring. But yeah, it's just little things, and I understand he hasn't been in wrestling for a long time, but neither have a lot of these guys in this match. Luchasaurus ends up winning, and of course MJF is sad. He did not bet on Luchasaurus. No, he bet on his boys. He actually even gave them some more cash to Butcher and Blade, because that's his boys, that's his hired guns, or whatever it is. They definitely don't look like they're friends or pals or hang out. But yeah, he's giving them money, and maybe it's not the greatest investment because it doesn't really seem to be paying off, does it? And we see Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss in the crowd. I don't know why Sonny Kiss hasn't been on television more often. I really can't figure that out. I haven't watched any of his matches in several weeks, so I don't know where his skill level is or what's going on there. But Sonny Kiss, he's in the crowd, and yeah. Dark Order with Evil Uno. This is where we're going to find out who's going to be the Exalted One. I was hoping that it was going to be Matt Hardy, and then you could have started the show with Matt Hardy revealing he is the Exalted One, and then going delete, 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 and deleting the crowd. And that would be a way that you could say, well, the crowd's gone. Because see, AEW, they love meta jokes, and I could have so seen them just showing clips of the last time they were at Dealey's place in Jacksonville, Florida, showing crowd shots and him going delete, and then like those crowds disappear, and then you see the actual empty seats or whatever, and then it's Matt Hardy. But well, that's not what they chose to do. They instead have someone else. But first, as CU, they've had enough of Evil Uno talking. So Evil Uno, you know, he's rambling on. I still don't get Evil Uno. I just don't feel a real emotional connection when he's talking. He's not a horrible talker. I mean, he's got some pretty good mannerisms, I guess. He puts on his mask straight. But he seems like one of the least interesting people on the show to me. He just does. But SCU, they've had enough of Evil Uno. Daniel says that he doesn't believe him. He hasn't seen him. He doesn't think that there is an Exalted One. And I just think that's kind of strange, going on from last week, where he was essentially saying that this is some kind of conspiracy theory, that there really is no Exalted One. I don't know why he holds this position, because tonight is the night, and then we find out. It's former WWE superstar Luke Harper. It's Brody Lee. And yeah, in the promo, Brody Lee says he says that Daniels isn't the first out-of-touch old man to not believe in him. And I was like, oh, see, they're having those WWE jokes like AEW. They're always having those slide jokes. That was one of them. That was totally on Vince McMahon. He attacks, and boom, there you go. He's attacking Christopher Daniels, so I guess you got a pre-made storyline right there, right out the gate. Brody Lee, I liked his promo. He's a big, intimidating guy. I can say that my interest level in the Dark Order rose by 2%. I just don't care. Actually, Christopher Daniels said earlier in the promo, like, look at all these guys in the Dark Order. You said that you were going to make them better. You're going to take them from jobbers and make them important people. And they're not. So Christopher Daniels was actually right about that. So we'll see, now that Brody Lee's there, if things are going to change, because we got an Exalted One. Lance Archer, he's with Jake Roberts, and it looks like he's got a little red bow on the back of his head, but that's just his little braids, his little hair locks, or whatever they are. Jake Roberts cuts a pretty decent promo there about respect. I didn't notice that Jake Roberts only shaved one half of his head. I could have swore he had shaved both sides and had like one of those new style mullets, but no. So if he was not Jake Roberts, I would say somebody totally ribbed that guy and shaved half of his head, or he lost a bet. I don't know. I'm hoping there's some kind of explanation out there that I just am not aware of yet. Next, during this same segment with Lance Archer, we're shown a video from earlier, I suppose. It looked like it was straight out of Jim Cornette's Mud Show, because it looked like they were just in a mud field with a wrestling ring with loose ropes, and I believe it said everybody dies on the ring, and we saw all these independent wrestlers running in the ring. It looked like some kind of cheap imitation Juggalo Championship wrestling thing. And yeah, Lance Archer just attacked people. He beat them one after the other. One of those independent wrestlers I noticed was the Committed to Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion David Ali, and I was like, oh, I know him. So that was cool. Other guys I did not notice. I did not know who they were, but I did notice that one. And that was a pretty interesting little segment. It kind of threw me off that you had kind of a it looks like a pretty damn nice house to me out there in the distance. Because the rest of those shots look like you should just have a rusty old barn or something going on over there. But it wasn't the case. So I'm interested in what Lance Archer is going to do. But yeah, it seems like he's just going to be destroying people. And he does have a target on the back of Cody. He had like a little picture and a circle drawn around him, like he's got a target on him and he's going to go after them. So yeah, I guess Cody should probably watch out, because yeah. Although beating a bunch of independent wrestlers, I don't know if that's really impressive. I mean, he did beat a lot of guys, but it wasn't like he was beating them all at the same time. It was more of a gauntlet. So, yeah. Anyways, a little interesting segment there. The main event is the Inner Circle with Jericho on commentary taking on the Elite. But, well, it's It's Cody, Matt Jackson, and Hangman Page taking on Santana, Ortiz, and Hager. So, a pretty nice main event. We're still going with wrestlers betting, wrestlers chanting, wrestlers getting into the match, because you gotta have fan interaction to make this work. So, I guess we'll see in the future if these little details AEW has added in to the new empty arena wrestling that we're going to be seeing for the next couple weeks, potentially months. Some new ideas, some new concepts, like what can you do? How can you put interest out there? Of course, you don't want to distract from the match. You want to add to the match, but how can you do it without the time-honored tradition of having fans? You know, that's just a completely new thing that we're just not used to. Well, unless your independent show doesn't draw anybody, which happens sometimes. Anyways, this was a pretty entertaining match, especially with Jericho on commentary. Of course, it's going to be a very effective use of putting wrestlers on guest commentary positions. Really enjoyed that. And Matt Jackson and Hangman Page, believe it or not, they were working well together. But can this continue? I understand that Hangman Page, he kind of needed to be there. But when everything's on the line and we have blood and guts, and will it continue? We're just going to have to see. But I have a feeling that Hangman Page is really only concerned about Hangman Page and the drink in his hand. And they were working so well together that even at one point, Matt Jackson, he goes for the Indie Taker, and Hangman Page is going to assist in completing this move, but he gets yanked off the apron, and Matt Jackson gets beat. In the inner circle, they stand tall. And Jericho gets on the microphone and actually bans fans from coming to the arena. So that's an all right way of saying that the fans can't be there, and that's why the fans aren't there. I mean, of course, it's ridiculous, but at the same time, Jericho's a heel, and he can do whatever he wants. And Chris Jericho lets the Elite know that Inner Circle, they got 5. They got 5 members. And right now, these guys over here, they only got 4. 4. Is this 4? Jericho's got 5. The Inner Circle's got 5. Cody and his buddies, they only got 4 of them. So, what are they going to do? And then we start hearing this buzzing sound, which I'm like, is there a bee on the microphone? What is happening? It's just like, I didn't know. But then I saw this drone, and I said, uh-oh, maybe Matt Hardy's going to make an entrance after all. Well, he did make an entrance, but not, on the entrance, because he couldn't make an entrance on the entrance, because that's where Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle were. On the other side of the arena, he was up there, way up there, and it's freaking Matt Hardy, and he's doing this, and it was almost like a Sting moment or an Undertaker moment, from way back in the day, because he's way up there, and he would have got a hellicious pop, but there's no one to do the pop, as you will. They could have blown the roof off the place, but the place didn't actually have a roof. So quiet, in fact, that you could hear them count the show off. They were like 6, 5, 4 until they fade to black and they go off the air. But Blood and Guts is next week. And assuming that rules don't get cut down to where you can only have 10 people in the building at a time, Blood and Guts is going to continue to happen. It really sucks. It's a bummer. It's a bummer that they don't get to have the big arena. They don't get to have all the participation, because that's going to be great. Some great matches with some great energy in the ring and some real emotion poured out into that story. So AEW, I gotta applaud them for the way they handled the show. Raw and SmackDown, I have not been a fan of how they've been handling it. Doing the best they can, but AEW just did it a little bit better. So I wonder if Triple H is over there taking some notes. WrestleMania is coming up soon. And but before then, we got next week. And next week is Blood and Guts. So we're going to check it out. We're going to hope that it's a good show. I'm definitely going to be checking out and reviewing it. Oh yeah, can't wait. But until then, I will catch you guys next time.